You know, when you stop living in your head, your dating life is actually going to change. You know, there's something that has been crawling into your head when it comes to dating and things like that. It's actually been sabotaging your dating life in silence. And most young men don't even understand that. And I always say, it will never be your looks, it will never be your income, it will never be your height, but that's how the mind starts to train you to make you feel like you're inadequate in so many different ways. And the twist is that a lot of people are not really going to talk to you or explain to you about is that you got to think about the twist that most guys don't see, because most of y'all guys right now, the moment that you overthink things, and it's okay because sometimes you're a fish out of water. So sometimes when things happen to you, you kind of like look at things in a different way. And when you start to overthink something, and it doesn't make you a bad person, it's just what happens in the game. And unfortunately, because you're trying to learn and navigate yourself through all this without being the student, you have troubles. And there are certain things that happen, and sometimes when we make text messages or send text messages to women, sometimes there are things that we want to say that we forget. There are things that we want to do that we say, man, I wish I would have changed that. I wish I would have done that differently. And it's these moments right here that we become prisoners of our own mind. And what makes these things the way they are is that too many of you guys out here right now are too busy trying to rehearse your life, trying to rehearse what you say, rehearse what you think. And while you're trying to rehearse yourself and trying to understand yourself through this thing of dating and everything, it seems like you're always, before you even get out of the gate, you start to negotiate with ghost, fear, rejection, anxiety, and everything that's going on in your head right now. And it feels like when you're dealing with those things, it really is actually holding you down and actually holding you back. But that's not the problem. It's just an empowering thing. That the problem isn't that you think deeply. The problem is that you've have made a huge mistake thinking that thinking is actually living, and it's not. I mean, you are allowed to have thoughts. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts. There's nothing wrong with you. And I've always stressed that narrative to you young men out here. But the moment you start believing that your thoughts are actually the way that you live is when you're actually going to have the problems, because it's at that point when you start to lock into the game, you stop reacting to the stories that you place in your head based off the assumptions, the judgments, and the expectations. See, the thing about the game that I learned at a young age is that if I look at things on the surface, I'm going to reply to things on the surface. And I think most people don't understand that. And I think most people out here believe that, you know, that I'm not good enough for her, or it's hard to get her, or how do I get her to like me? How do I get her to appreciate me? And that's not the way we need to look at the game. And I think many of us are looking at everything sometimes the wrong way because of our interpretations of things. And what I want to say today is I'm not here to actually fix your life for you, but what we want to do is we want to kind of work on the way that you see things through your attention. And the moment that you stop arguing with your thoughts, you stop rehearsing the pain, you stop predicting the disaster that is going to happen, and actually come back to reality, everything for you is actually going to shift. And once you make that shift, man, you will never go back. And that's the beauty of being a student of the game, because once you lock into the game, everything changes for you. And that's what I want to talk to you young men today about. I think that many times we see things the way we want to see them, but we don't see them as they are. And sometimes there is an uncomfortable truth to things. I get it. The dating world for you right now is really tough, and it's really strange. And most of you guys think that dating is anxiety. It's, dating is tough and dating is hard. And it's just unfortunately that you're overthinking things because you never taken the time to learn the game and actually train your mind to realize your value and your worth. Most people don't understand when it comes to the game is a tool, okay? But your mindset right now is the tool, and that's the problem. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts. It's the problem is you actually turn those thoughts into facts, and then what happened was you would go on YouTube to reinforce what you think versus go outside of the construct of your reality. And here's the problem, man. You can carry the weight and you can carry the pain and you can carry all the things that hold you back down, but the thing is that you have so much power when you learn the game, when you actually learn yourself and who you are. And I get it. The moment you see a woman, a thought is going to cross your mind, it's going to appear, and it's going to speak loudly to you, and that's fear and that's anxiety. But it sounds real, it feels real, but the thing is there's nothing wrong with it being there. You can observe it, but you don't have to draw into it. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is when you stop looking at what it is you believe is actually real and start looking at who you are as a man, everything is actually going to change. And this is why being a student of the game is so important, because it is in those present moments, okay, that you are one thought, one mind, one way. And you're no longer looking at a storyline. Too many of us give so much into storylines because we feel like we are actually in the story, but you are not the story. You are just a participant in the story when you think that the story is actually real, and that's not true. And here's the crazy thing about it. What I'm saying is it doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you ignorant. It doesn't make you anything. It's just that sometimes we look at things the wrong way when we don't know what's going on. And so when we learn the game and you learn how to master your life, this is where all your attention will shift. I'll give you a prime example right now that I always do on the live shows. I'll give you a prime example. I'm speaking to you right now and you're listening to me right now. But what you notice, and this is the beautiful thing about attention that most people don't understand. The beautiful thing about attention most people don't know is that right now you're focused on me, right? You're focused on what I'm saying. Not me, but what I'm saying. But if you notice how you focus your attention, it's on me. But if I bring up, now and again, this is not magic or anything, but I'm going to bring it up. And once I bring it up, watch how fast you shift your attention and shift your focus. And the thing is, watch this. Okay, I'm getting too far. I'm getting excited about this. So check this out. Right now you're focused on me. But now watch how I changed your attention. Just like that. Wiggle your toes. No diddy. Just wiggle your toes. Feel your feet on the ground if you have no socks. Feel your socks on your feet. But you notice the thing that was so weird, your socks were always on your feet from the moment that you heard this video, or your feet were on the ground, or however you were, if you're on the bed or wherever your feet are at. But see, the beautiful thing about it was all about where you focus your attention. See, what happened is that while you were listening to me, you focused your attention on me. And what did you shift your focus away from? You shifted your focus away from your feet. You don't think about your feet that are on your feet right now. You don't think about the shirt that's on your back right now because your attention has shifted. And when you actually shift your attention, that's the beautiful thing about the game, is when you shift it, everything begins to change. And for a lot of you guys, you think too much sometimes about too many things and you're not shifting your focus. You're not putting your focus on. You're too busy putting your focus on the fears, the anxieties, the worries, or the excuses, the stories, versus focusing on what you need to do. See, the thing is that when a woman reaches out or you reach out to a woman and she just doesn't text you back, it's cool. We don't need to focus on why she's not texting us back or focus on what it is we're doing wrong in our lives to say why she's not texting us back. That's not the game. That's not how we should see things as men. The way we see things as men, we've got to know that we have got to stop doing the one thing that we're too busy doing. And unfortunately, that is living in our head. And as long as you are living in your head, you're never going to see the beauty and the greatness that you have as a man. And I think the biggest problem that young men have today is that they live in their head constantly. And what happens is when you live in your head, it makes you predictable. You double text because you worry about the rejection. You over explain because in your head you have created judgments and things like that. And when you start to beat yourself up, women can actually pick up on that kind of energy that you're placing. It's displaced energy going into a place that it shouldn't go into. Your energy should be a flow when it comes to your mindset of thinking, this is what I need to say, this is what I need to do, and this is how I need to move. And when you're thinking that way, it seems like everything in your life is actually going to change, but that's how change begins. It's not a story, it is actually a fact. And guess what? She didn't reach out to you right now. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I've always stated that. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the fact how you're looking at the game and how you're looking at life. See, when you're cool, calm, okay, when you're locked into the game, one thought, one mind, one way, that's how you win in the game, okay? But when you're inside your head and you're fighting with the fears and things like that, it's something that will draw out the fear and make the fear seem like it is real. See, the thing that makes a man attractive to a woman is not what you actually think it is. Because I think what happens to a lot of young men, they have this assumption of a trigger that happens inside of them. They get this so-called meltdown because they believe that, okay, I am good enough, but why can't she see that? And then all of a sudden, once you start thinking that way, you actually start overthinking. And see, when you overthink, I know in your head it feels productive, but it actually isn't. It is a mental treadmill at work, okay? And all you're doing is sweating in one place and not actually going anywhere. And the thing is that we've got to get off the treadmill and we've got to start locking into who we are. See, living in your head is the problem. You're not living the world. You're living a world that you have created based off of your interpretation of what a woman is thinking about you. And guess what? It's okay, man. A lot of guys go through that, and that doesn't make you a bad person or anything like that. It's just at the end of the day, most guys out there live in their heads because they are too afraid to feel. They analyze sadness and shyness and hurt and pain and worry and all these things that they just go through all these feelings, and what they never do is connect to themselves. See, the moment that you ask, you know what, ask yourself or start telling yourself, I need to start refusing to feel a certain thing. Again, maybe it could be the fear of rejection. Maybe it's embarrassment. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe there's some pit in your stomach that, you know what, I want to ask this girl out, but I just don't know how to do it. I just don't know what to say. I don't know why to say it. And sometimes it just gets in your head a little bit, and it's cool, man. And you know what? I want you guys to know that you're not rattled or anything like that. It's just that right now you're a fish out of the water. We've got to put you back into the water. And when you are starting to see the game and become the student of the game, everything in your life is actually going to change. See, the thing is, I want to do everything I can to loosen the identity that you have, because it's the identity that you have right now that is actually slowing you down, because there's a lack of belief that you have actually in yourself. And when you have a lack of belief in yourself, you're never going to see the world the way you should see it, because everything in your world is chaos right now, and chaos can be a bad thing, gentlemen. So when you guys stop living upstairs in your thoughts, okay, and you start living in a world here but not here, okay, everything is actually going to change. How women respond to you, how you respond to yourself. You're going to listen more. You're going to be able to see things differently. And what people don't tell you, and what your mind is never going to tell you, is that a woman is never going to fall for perfection, okay? They're going to respond to a feeling. Remember, they will respond to me. I am good looking to myself, and you should feel the same way. But the thing is what a woman responds to me or not is none of my business, because I am not here to force or change a reality. I'm just here to learn who I am and why I am. But we've got to stop chasing the silence, and we have to realize at the end of the day, we've got to know who we are and why we are, and that's what being a student is all about. People always sit around and think to themselves that, you know what, I can just go on YouTube and grab some certain things and put them on and run with those things. But I want you to game this out. If the foundation is weak, it doesn't matter how much furniture you put into the house, it's still on a weak foundation. And a lot of young men can't see that, because a lot of young men are hurting today, and they're looking for so many fast and quick answers. Man, I can't give you a quick answer to you, because you are so broad and so wide and so infinite. But what I can do is let you know that we have got to tap into the source. I think that's the biggest problem a lot of guys have, is actually tapping into the source. So once you start to learn the game and start to tap into the source, you're going to realize at the end of the day, you are the source. But you cannot tap into the source doing things half-assed. That is why most guys have failed last year and are failing this year. They think they can do it themselves. They think they can grab a few things and do it themselves. But again, you can't do what you don't understand. That is like me grabbing a bunch of medical books and saying I'm a doctor. It just doesn't work that way. But at the end of the day, man, if you could just get out of the prison in your head and start soaking up the game the right way, your life is actually going to change. Man, I believe in you, but you got to start believing in yourself. The only way you're going to do that is take that extra step, or not. Stay where you are. Nobody puts a gun to your head here. But one thing I'm going to put into is this video. This is going to be the end of our video, but not the end of our discussion, gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. Let me know what happens to you when you see that woman. Is it as bad as you think it is? Tell me, what do you go through? What bothers you? What is the thing that holds you back and holds you down? There are no bad answers. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, if you are ready to learn and grow and soak up this game, please, by all means, go ahead and get your pathway right here, man. It's just one step into the growth. I had to do this at 9 years old, man. I had to get in and learn this game. But also, if you are not ready, that is cool. Like I've always said, we've got videos, podcasts, and live shows where you could talk to me live and chop up the game. So just remember, guys, at the end of the day, it isn't your fault, but it is your choice. The choice is actually yours. But anyway, if you enjoy this video, you are going to love this video right here. And if you need to send this to any of your friends who are having problems, send it to them, and maybe it can help their lives as well. We'll talk to you later, man. Peace.